Welcome to my newest audience everywhere on Earth. Of course, I assume you have a deep curiosity, as do I, concerning solvable problems, one of which is forming a more perfect union. So let's begin here at Synergetic Mind, May 27, 2024. The newest educating paradigm. Synergetic Mind's metaphysical intellect as a function of omnirational universe continues forming a more perfect union again today. By adding the prefix "in" to the word forming, we notice how swiftly information and forming become an interrelated conceptual function, which then is easily associated with imagination's inherent ability to formulate conceptually. Obviously, the tuned-in observer's newly acquired knowledge of Synergetic Unity and Synergetics 100.101 must be relevant to the energy that will be invested in the entire process of forming a more perfect union. Conservation of energy is naturally assumed primarily because the truth of nature's energy is that it is neither created, lost, nor destroyed in universe. Logically, humans must be designed in principle to conceptualize energy as the constant relative abundance, which is what the topological characteristics of the minimum structural system describe for such purposes, especially concerning the truth of science's discoveries, which are said to be experiential and experimental, subjective to objective. Oddly, though, it seems to be a stretch of the imagination to suggest our individual experience of the PRJWB-SHM millenniums-old contextual parameter may also be a type of science education experiment to comply with its false premises that omitted all that since has been discovered. Mainly, this is awareness of the discovery of nature's coordinate system by R. Buckminster Fuller in the 20th century. And as a result of it, inspirations applicable to UIVMOFCH vectorial geometry turns out to be a potentially self-other validating omni-comprehensive anticipatory design science education paradigm. We now know of the isotropic vector matrix and informed awareness of two decidedly different matrices, the millenniums-old PRJWB-SHM, politics, religion, justice, war, belief, system, hierarchical matrix, and 21st century UIVMOFCH, universe, isotropic vector matrix, operational field, cosmic hierarchy. So it must be a conscious coordination of metaphysical intellect, synergetic mind's awareness of Synergetics' discoveries to include the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found. As well, this includes Informed awareness that integration discreetly controls the coordination of complex interactions. That the periodic interactions are known as cycles or periodic recurrences of a higher frequency order is subsequently to Bucky Fuller's 1949 writing in his book Ideas and Integrities in the essay Total Thinking concerning cycles and personality. In quotes, the continuity of conscious life becomes personality as a product of complex interactions known as cycles or periodic recurrences of a higher frequency order, end quote. Is it the product's personality? From a continuity of conscious life? Then what about the subconscious memory stored frequencies by the human synergetic mind without any conscious knowledge what a frequency is? Frequency is multi-cyclic fractionation of unity, where a minimum of 2 cycles is essential to frequency fractionation as described in Synergetic Corollaries 240.52 through 0.53. Intellect has memory stored in its brain. The illustrations in Synergetics 413.01 of a 2-frequency triangle where 2 intervals equal 2 edges and 3 intervals equal 3 edges. The word edge reminds intellect of Microsoft Edge. Does this suggest that before algorithmic code writing for AI computer technology to eventually control vocabulary, as it obviously is in the process of doing so, as pervasively dominant education schemes? But that the universal communications as World Wide Web's networks initially relied on vectorial geometry to some point of departure after huge fortunes made billionaires as a type of personality disorder that now dissuades education interests in conceptualities of synergetics is geometry and topology that clearly are correlative with forming a more perfect union. Anyway, intuitions, insights are essential reminders, correlative to synergetic mind's awareness of Arbutminster Fuller's discoveries that otherwise could never have satisfied integral self-validation of the female integrity that can be associated with gravitational forces as a spherically circumferential constant advantage ratio. That is 6-to-1 over the centrally radiational and as a constant advantage ratio of 12-to-1 over the radial inward mass attraction. Synergetics 251.05 through 0.12. Self-stabilization of a complex of events with a minimum of 6 functions surely cannot be inessential as a definition of structure correlating to the conceptual pattern integrity when forming a more perfect union's omni-self intertriangulating systems. Intuition's informed awareness of R. Buckminster Fuller's discoveries is a persistent reminder to articulate the knowledge of the overlong remoteness of Synergetics' vocabulary. Synergetics 250.30. This can be accomplished by the research writer's self-publishing contributions to TUCP, the Universal Communications Process. Otherwise, how does Synergetic Mind's omnirational economic initiative expect to curtail the R factor's reigns of terror as but one of the overwhelming invasive forces spreading across the free world? The ignorance of it seems unstoppable, where education authorities have yet to permit Synergetics' discoveries and conceptualities of it into the primary education, information gathering, local problem solving process. Synergetic education is an information gathering, local problem solving, ongoing process, subsequently to learning the ABCs and basic number counting. There is no logical reason to deny metaphysical generalized conceptioning education, since self-synergetic mind is integral to realizing the inherently inviolable integrity of the individual as an integral reenacting economic initiative referentially to integrate a force awareness of female and male as an essential basic education requirement, as one of the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found. The knowledgeable interassociation that educated and uneducated ignorance encourages governmental oversight to mistakenly emulate its role-playing practices as compliant actors on the world stage. It appeals to egotistical associations as real-life characters in the fantastic superficial scenarios on a day-to-day basis, as humans scurry to zone out, to escape the real-world self-imposing ignorance, as the PRJWBSHM predominate societies, interrelating reactions to the misidentified problems and miscalculated solutions, missing at the outset, and subsequent steps of analysis is the discovery of the gravitational constants pattern of operative effectiveness. Since it is female, the news of this phenomenon can strike a familiar chord of the female synergetic mind that heretofore wanted to identify with the self-validating integrity that can explain an integral quality that otherwise is inexplicable. The explicable nature would also be a welcomed clarification for the intellectual males, whose synergetic mind is not less economically advantaged, especially as differently motivated male interests are not the same as female interests. In principle, male and female are not naturally competitive. Where radiation reaches its highest velocity and turns into gravitation circumferentially embracing discoverable potential at the transcendental turnaround inside outing eternally conserving self-regenerating energy That may well be the missing infinitesimal shortest time. Is it universe's self-replicating patterns of operative effectiveness of the gravitational constant? If so, our evolving species, humans of a mind, you are experiencing exhaustion by the PRJWBSHM reenacting frustrations. As we can read to comprehend Synergetics 251 Discoveries of Synergetics Inventory. Also, if not with UIVMOFCH as a 21st century matrix, what other anticipatory design science, omnicomprehensive alternative option is the synergetic mind's metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of thought considering? Yes, informed awareness now knows of the isotopic vector matrix and one of two decidedly different matrices. One is the millennium's old PRJWBSHM. The other is the 21st century awareness of UIVMOFCH. So, it must be consciously coordinating metaphysical intellect, synergetic mind's awareness of synergetics discoveries, that is, underlying potential applications of the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found and that heretofore were denied to the child's education. How could anyone discover these missing essentials without Bucky Fuller having facilitated these future prospects decades ahead of a very real possibility to occur now and into the future? Apparently, it would not be until we are basically overwhelmed by the pervasive threats, especially from the PRJWBSHMR factor, that if permitted to take hold, establishing and reestablishing a greater and greater foothold, will set us back into the dark ages where the relative insanity initiated. Suggested reading: Synergetics Table of Contents, Synergetics 100.101, Synergetic Unity, Synergetics 240.04, Synergetics Figure 413.01, Synergetics 250.30, Synergetics 251, Discovery of Synergetics, Synergetics Figure 935.23, and Synergetics Color Plate number 9, Cosmic Hierarchy. Until next time, keep tuning in and reading Synergetics. It is available online as our coexisting humanities, cosmic to local relevance, consciously persists in forming a more perfect union as this potential realization becomes clearer by the day. Thank you.